Welcome. So in this video series, if you haven't seen the first three, you've more than likely talked to me on a call about it and you understand about it. If not, there should be a link below to these three videos. So today we're going to show you how to stop inflammation and spare the cell workhorse, NAD+, and also glutathione. And that just gives you a lot of breathing room to perform throughout the day. And for the sake of, I think it's beneficial to just go over the first 3 points, because when the brain links up that something is important, we generally follow through. So we understand that food is a big problem, and you've got F and C grade foods and A and B grade foods, and we want to select for A and B grade foods because they've got building materials and they've got workers. As you learnt in the previous videos, if you want to support glutathione, the master antioxidant in your body, 24/7, 7 days a week, you have to have 3 building materials, which are amino acids. And to put those building materials together to make glutathione, your body requires vitamins and minerals. It is that simple. And if you supply the building materials 24/7 and also the workers 24/7, you've got glutathione supported 24/7. So these foods are devoid of building materials right there. That's just absolute garbage. That's an F-grade fail, complete fail. It'll just cause inflammation, and that's what this research paper says. And over time, it turns into atherosclerosis, heart disease, arthritis, asthma, and endocrine disorders. Is exactly what we're talking about here. You got no energy, and you think you need a coffee. You just feel it as a drop in energy, and it's 50 times. It produces 50 times more free radicals. And there's lots of research behind it. Here's just one paper, saying that it ages our skin and our cells, our joints get sore and inflexible, it screws up our cholesterol, causing atherosclerosis. And here's another research paper that shows that even if it seems like you've got, your blood glucose is okay, it's not. In this study, and this isn't an insignificant study, this is over 22 years with 2,000 participants. Fasting blood glucose above 85 milligrams per deciliter has a significantly higher mortality rate from cardiovascular disease. Again, our food is killing us. We have to move away from this F and C grade foods. And we also understand that these endocrine and estrogenic disrupting chemicals are everywhere. We need an elimination plan so our hormones and energy and our alpha comes back online. And here's just a quick overview of the different foods we select for A and B. So they've got building materials and workers to do the work, and we also supplement to make sure that we've got all the vitamins and minerals on board. And genetics plays into it, absolutely. Some people have elite genetics, some people have garbage genetics like myself. I would have ended up like the gentleman on the right if I didn't intervene and push hard for this knowledge that I'm giving you here today. And I selected for a lot of this crap, and you just think, oh, look, one won't hurt, but it's toxic. I mean, it's just absolute garbage, and it's addictive. It's addictive, and let me just show you that here. So these grains, they hit the opioid receptors, and what does that mean? When someone has morphine or something similar, it hits their opioid receptors. Cocaine, highly addictive. And these foods, wheat, soy, and milk, hit the opioid receptors. That's why they're so, we're drawn to them. We have cravings for them. And we also know, because we've watched the other video on estrogenic and endocrine disrupting chemicals, that we've got 2 big problems. These pesticides, and also these mycoestrogens that are on our grains and breads and cereals and things like that. So they cause inflammation straight away, and it just shows up in our life as just being tired, just not being there. We're dull. Screw that. I'm not here to be average, are you? I mean, seriously, we've got to get away from these F and C grade foods. But it gets worse. Like, there's multiple studies here now showing that these phytoestrogens are in our cereals, screwing up our kids, causing chronic disease. And this research paper here also shows now that it screws up glutathione. It's not just disrupting your hormones, it's disrupting the master antioxidant in your body, and also SAMe. If you don't know what SAMe, you don't need to, but it's extremely important for hormones, neurotransmitters, fat loss, a whole host of different things, and it's screwing up both of these systems. All right, and we've also touched on why this is happening. There's lots of doctors out there, and people like Dr. Mark Heyman, my mentor, Dr. Anthony J, PhD, and Dr. Ken Berry. They're all talking about this. They've written books about it. So this is where we're up to. We're going to show you how to stop inflammation now, to give your body a break from inflammation and stress and cravings, and start, feeling alive and having energy and optimizing your hormones. So let me just show you how to do that. Okay, so you can see the list of benefits there. It lowers inflammation. Being in a state of ketosis spares NAD+, which is a cell workhorse. It does basically, all the cell heavy lifting, like energy production, looking after inflammation, healthy levels of inflammation. It also looks after your antioxidant system. It also looks after longevity pathways. It does a lot of heavy lifting. Dr. David Sinclair, who's an Aussie researcher, has shown that it's the holy grail of longevity. And the big problem that most people face is simply that when you're 20 to, I think, 45 or something like that age, it drops twofold. So we have to do everything in our power to keep this cell workhorse working. And again, when you get into a state of ketosis, it spares it at a ratio of 4:1. I'll show you that research too. It also powers up and makes glutathione work stronger. It lowers stress, and I'll show you all this research. And what I find quite fascinating is you produce 20% more energy per oxygen molecule, so a lot less reactive oxygen species, ROS, and that's just a fancy way of saying oxidative stress, which is exactly what we want to stop. And when you have metabolic flexibility, you'll find keto easy and effortless. You'll flip back and forth between carbs and keto, no problem at all. And it engages autophagy. Now, autophagy is a big deal in the biohacking space at the moment, because this is what it does. When you engage autophagy, it's a scanner, right? So it goes around the body scanning for dead, diseased, malfunctioning, cancerous and precancerous cells, and it recycles them into building materials, exactly what we want, amino acids and things like that, and also energy. So it's the real detox. This lemon detox bullshit, that's not gonna work. Autophagy is what works. And it also increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is miracle growth for your brain. And it's when that's upregulated, it makes you feel good. It hits all those buttons, ticks all those boxes as well, and it produces less oxidative stress. And it also engages a mitochondrial biogenesis. Now that's extremely important if you want to produce a lot of sex hormones, which is exactly what we want to try and achieve. Testosterone, DHEA, dihydroepiandrosterone, and all those hormones that make us feel alive and like we want to take the day on, so we've got energy. So this research paper here shows that they had 3 groups of people, and they put them under a psychological stress test. They put them in front of an audience to do math exams. And they had 3 groups: one that was fasted, autophagy, all right, one that had a carb meal, and one that had a fat protein meal. Now, the interesting observation from these scientists was that only the carb-fed meal increased their stress hormones twofold, and they didn't perform well. The other 2 groups, the fasted and the keto group, they didn't raise stress hormones, so their cognition was still on point. So, you just perform better under stress, full stop. That's what this research paper says. Now, this one here, this is where it just gets so profoundly beneficial. This research paper here, it upregulates BDNF, yes, better cognition, better, miracle grow for the brain. So think about that when you're working, when you're trying to create solutions, when you're researching, when you're studying. Exactly what we want: better memory recall and better memory consolidation. But it also alleviates depression and anxiety. And this research paper here, β-Hydroxybutyrate, which is a ketone metabolite, which is exactly what we are making when we're in a state of ketosis. It inhibits the NLRP3 inflammasome and attenuates stress-induced behavioural responses. Exactly what wasn't happening for the glucose group here. And this research paper here, the ketogenic diet, the KD diet, is also shown to increase mitochondrial biogenesis in the hippocampus, which is awesome because that's where memories are consolidated. This research paper here, the NLRP3 inflammasome with β-Hydroxybutyrate admits defeat. So you're lowering inflammation. All right, this is extremely powerful for you. It gives your body a break to, so you can heal and recover. And again, more research saying exactly the same thing: inflammatory disease. And this research paper here. So when your body is functioning well and your body's trying to make stress hormones, it makes these stress hormones, the sex hormones, it makes it in the ER. Okay, so β-Hydroxybutyrate suppresses inflammation formation by ameliorating endoplasmic reticulum stress, and that's the ER. Endoplasmic reticulum, that's the ER. So DHEA, dihydroepiandrosterone, which is known for its beneficial feelings of well-being, caring and warm-heartedness, but also vigor, strength and vitality. And it's upregulating all these systems. Another research paper here saying that it inhibits the inflammasome and you know what's going on here. It's extremely beneficial. Now I just want to pause here for a second and just say, we don't, once we achieve metabolic flexibility, we can go in and out of ketosis. We don't have to stay there all the time. We can go carnivore, we can go paleo, we can do whatever the hell we want because we are performing. We can flip back and forth, and this is what I want to achieve for you. Now, I mentioned on this just there that the ER does some pretty important jobs, but this is where cholesterol is extremely important. Now, and this is where mitochondrial performance, the more mitochondria you have, the more sex hormone making machinery you have. Now, Dr. Frank Schellenberger here says that it's estimated that 46% of people under 40 have early onset mitochondrial dysfunction, and we know that we can fix that. We know that we can fix that, and why would we want to fix that? Given this research paper here, given the importance of mitochondria for steroid hormone production and the stress response, right? So both things. It's not stress, it's a challenge response. We rise to the day. That's what it's all about. So cholesterol comes along, goes into the mitochondria here, and it's turned into pregnenolone. It comes out into the ER, the endoplasmic reticulum, and then is made into DHEA and testosterone. Exactly what we want. Now think about this. If we've got more mitochondria and we've got healthy levels of cholesterol, that is perfect. That's what we want to achieve. And the research on keto just keeps going on and on and on. Like, ketone bodies are neuro and cytoprotective, so for the brain, but also all of your cells. The ketone body, β-Hydroxybutyrate, induces an anti-depression associated in the brain. And it also upregulates GABA. Now, GABA is what makes you feel calm and in control. So that goes back to that research paper that we saw before, that, in a stress response, you're like, I've got this, I can do this. So all these systems are being upregulated. This one here shows you the research where it produces around about 30% more energy per oxygen molecule. Extremely important. Now, this is getting into the cell workhorse. Recall earlier when I mentioned that the cell workhorse, that's, over time from 20 to 40, it drops twofold. Well, this is how we preserve it. And this research paper here says that NAD plus levels govern sirtuin 3 activity. Now, you might be thinking, well, what the hell is that? Our antioxidants, right? So glutathione and superoxide and all those things. Now, this research paper here shows that when we're in a state of β-Hydroxybutyrate here on the right, as compared to being a sugar burner here on the left, it preserves NAD plus at a ratio of 4:1. So you're using 4 NAD plus to 1 NAD plus. All right, so glucose 4 and beta-hydroxybutyrate 1. So you're preserving it at a ratio of 4:1, the cell workhorse. Now think about that. That's extremely powerful. Now, before we go into the next video and discuss what foods that we need to do to get into a deep state, like there's dirty keto, which a lot of people use, and then there's clean keto, which gets you into these kind of levels of ketosis. And this is the foods that we use, okay? And, these have got all the building materials and the vitamins that you need to support glutathione and lower inflammation and start producing, sex hormones and all the feel-good hormones and optimize thyroid, growth hormone, all those things. So in the next video, we will go over the apps that you need to use, or if you just want to make it a lot simpler, you can do that as well. And all the yummy foods that we can eat, all right? So what we have to do is select for A grade building materials and also B. B grade's not too bad. When you have metabolic flexibility, and you will, you can select for both A and B grade, and occasionally maybe a C and an F grade fail, which isn't too bad at all, because now you've got metabolic flexibility and you're highly protected. Alright, so that's all I've got for this video, and if you've liked this, please refer the Mark I method to a friend and help them come back online, their hormones, their energy, their alpha, their everything. So there it is. It's time to stop inflammation and let your body heal and recover.